Welcome to today's deep dive. We've got something really special lined up. We're going to be taking a close look at a conversation with Ren Zhengfei.
Ren Zhengfei.
Yeah, the founder of Huawei.
Oh, wow.
It's not every day you get a chance to hear from someone like him.
Right, absolutely not. It's a rare opportunity for sure. So what's the context?
We're looking at this transcript of a Q&A session between Ren and a really interesting group, actually, a bunch of students and coaches from the International Collegiate Programming Contest.
You mean the ICPC?
That's the one.
Wow, the Olympics of Competitive Programming? I've heard about that. Those kids are seriously brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Some of the sharpest minds in tech all in one place, and they got to ask Ren all sorts of questions.
What kind of question?
We're talking everything from technology and education to global culture. He even talks about leadership and his own personal reflections on life. It's really fascinating.
Sounds like it. So where do we even begin with all of that?
Let's start with the first question. This comes from a participant who was at last year's ICPC event, and he was really struck by Ren's vision for young people as agents of change.
Okay, yeah, I remember that from the transcript.
What did you think of Ren's response to that?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, he calls the students seeds who can carry ideas back to their countries and plant the seeds for progress and innovation.
I love that.
Yeah, you can feel his genuine belief in the power of young people, like they can actually change the world.
Totally. It's like he's saying these students, they're not just competitors, they're literally planting the seeds for a better future.
Absolutely. And then he contrasts this with pre-industrial China. Back then, communication was limited and information moved so slowly.
Yeah.
But today, with all this technology, ideas can spread instantly, globally. He sees the ICPC as a powerful example of this accelerated exchange of ideas.
It really makes you think, how much the world has changed in just a few generations.
I know, it's mind-blowing.
All right, so up next we have a participant from Japan who raises a really interesting point, and it might even be a bit controversial.
Oh yeah, I remember this one.
He's concerned that this intense focus on short-term coding challenges might actually divert talent away from solving real-world problems. You know, the problems that require long-term solutions.
Right, the kind of problems that can't be solved in a weekend hackathon.
Exactly. So what do you think? Is he right?
Well, Ren acknowledges that concern. He doesn't shy away from the potential downsides of competitive coding, but he also emphasizes how events like the ICPC can broaden students' perspectives.
So it's not just about winning.
No, it's about pushing students to think outside the box, to consider the global implications of their work.
So he sees it as a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Like a training ground for tackling those bigger real-world problems.
Exactly. He specifically mentions how participating in the ICPC helps students understand the global scope of the problems that need to be solved. It's not just about writing code, it's about, understanding the impact technology can have on the world.
That makes a lot of sense.
He then goes on to talk about the importance of communication and collaboration.
Yeah, he uses a historical example, right?
Yes. He talks about how European inventions, like the train and the steamship, accelerated progress in Europe while China, at that time, lagged behind.
Why was that?
Communication. Europe had better communication networks, which allowed ideas and technologies to spread faster.
So he's saying that connection is key to progress.
Exactly. And in today's world, with all this digital technology, that connection is more powerful than ever.
Right. We're more connected than ever before.
Exactly. Information technology has basically shrunk the world, right? Making it possible to share ideas and collaborate in ways that, people couldn't even dream of a few decades ago.
It's amazing when you think about it.
And this brings him back to the importance of the ICPC and other similar events. They're not just competitions, they're platforms for building connections and fostering collaboration across borders.
Yeah, it's not just about winning, it's about connecting with like-minded people from all over the world.
Exactly. And, he walks the walk. He mentioned Huawei's commitment to supporting all sorts of student competitions.
Right, not just the ICPC.
Yeah. He talks about math competitions, physics, chemistry, all sorts of fields. He sees these events as crucial for building a global network of innovators and problem solvers.
So it's about fostering that spirit of inquiry and collaboration, regardless of the field.
Absolutely. Okay, so question number 3. This one's a bit more, I guess you could say philosophical.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one.
A participant is curious about what Ren sees as the biggest challenges facing humanity right now, like the really big existential stuff.
Yeah, the fate of the world kind of stuff.
And Ren dives right in, talking about AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah. He acknowledges its potential to revolutionize our lives, but he doesn't shy away from the anxiety surrounding it either.
Like the fear of robots taking over the world.
Well, more specifically, the fear of AI taking our jobs. It's a legitimate concern.
It's a concern that's becoming more and more real by the day, it seems.
Right. And to illustrate this point, Ren brings up the Luddite movement.
Who were the Luddites again?
They were these textile workers back in the 19th century who, destroyed machines because they were afraid of being replaced by them.
Oh, right.
It's a reminder that technological progress has always brought challenges and societal shifts.
But hasn't it always worked out for the best? Eventually.
Well, that's what Ren seems to think. He believes technology ultimately creates more wealth and opportunity. He sees AI as a powerful engine for economic growth.
But only if it's managed responsibly, right?
Exactly. He emphasizes the importance of governments and policymakers ensuring that the benefits of AI are shared fairly, that we manage the societal impact thoughtfully.
It's a big responsibility.
For sure.
All right, so on to the next question.
Okay.
This one comes from Romania, and it's about Ren's leadership and how he makes decisions during those critical moments.
Yeah.
When the pressure's on.
Yes. This is where he gives that specific example, the one that shows just how innovative Huawei is.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So imagine a scenario, right? You have a base station engineer, let's say in a remote part of Africa.
Okay.
They're installing some equipment, and they run into a problem.
Oh.
Now, in the past, they'd have to call someone, maybe wait days for help to arrive.
Yeah, it could take forever.
But with Huawei, they use smart glasses.
Smart glasses?
Yeah. The engineer can connect with experts in Romania, for example, who can see exactly what the engineer is seeing in real time.
So they're like virtually there.
Exactly. It's like having a virtual expert looking over your shoulder, guiding you through the problem no matter where you are in the world.
That's incredible. What a game changer.
Right. And Ren explains how they have these technology centers all over the world.
Really?
Yeah, like one in Romania for English speakers, another in Mexico for Spanish speakers, one in Egypt for Arabic speakers, and so on. It's all about providing localized support in real time.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It's a logistical masterpiece, a global network of expertise.
Talk about thinking globally. It also really highlights the challenges of managing a global workforce, all those different languages, cultures.
Which brings us to our next question, which is about, you guessed it, language barriers.
Of course. With so many employees all over the world, it must be a challenge for Huawei to keep everyone on the same page.
Right. How do you manage communication in a company that spans the globe?
What's the secret sauce?
Ren's pretty straightforward about this. He says that while employees are free to speak their local languages outside of work, when it comes to doing business, everyone uses English.
English is the common language.
Exactly. It's the glue that holds everything together. It ensures clear communication and prevents misunderstandings.
Makes sense. You need a common language to function effectively as a global company.
He actually makes a funny comment about this.
Oh.
He admits that English is the only language he's not proficient in.
Uh-huh. I love that he can joke about that. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. We have a question from France, and this participant is interested in pushing the boundaries of technology, exploring the cutting edge.
I love this part. This is where Ren's passion for research really shines through.
Okay, lay it on me.
So first, he praises France. He talks about its long history of mathematical excellence going all the way back to Napoleon. Then he drops a bomb.
What?
Huawei has not one, but 2 mathematical research centers in France.
2? What are they working on?
One is focused on photography algorithms. You see, photography isn't just about physics. It's heavily reliant on math, too.
Interesting.
And the other one, the Lagrange Mathematical Center, is tackling these really complex, future-facing computational challenges. We're talking about the kind of stuff that's 10, 20 years down the line.
So it's not just about building products for today. It's about laying the groundwork for the future of technology.
Exactly. But there's more. He brings up their aesthetics research centers.
Aesthetics? What?
Yeah. They have these centers in France and Italy, believe it or not.
What on earth do they do there?
They study beauty, essentially.
Beauty?
Well, think of it as psychology meets design. They're trying to understand the psychology of beauty and incorporate those insights into Huawei's products.
So they're not just focused on making their products functional. They're thinking about the user experience, the emotional impact of design.
Precisely. It's about making technology not just work well, but also feel good to use.
Wow, that's a whole other level of thinking.
It really is. It shows a deep understanding of the human element. We're not just robots interacting with machines. We have an emotional connection to these devices.
So true.
Right.
Okay, this has been absolutely fascinating.
I know.
But I think we need to take a break here. There's so much more to unpack in this conversation with Ren Zhengfei. So much more ground to cover.
I agree. We've only scratched the surface.
We'll be back soon with part 2 of this deep dive, so stay tuned.
Can't wait. Welcome back to our deep dive into Ren Zhengfei's thoughts. This guy is seriously fascinating.
I know, right? Last time, we left off talking about aesthetics and technology. It's amazing how much thought goes into the design of the things we use every day.
Totally. But there's so much more to unpack. So let's jump back in with a question about the future of education.
Okay. This one comes from a student at Peking University.
Yeah. They're curious about Ren's views on reforming education systems, especially in a world that's constantly changing thanks to technology.
It's a huge question. How do we prepare young people for a future that's so uncertain?
Right. And Ren really emphasizes the importance of nurturing well-rounded individuals. It's not just about memorizing facts or getting good grades. It's about fostering creativity, curiosity, and a love of learning.
So it's about moving away from that standardized testing, one-size-fits-all approach to education.
Exactly. He sees the need for a more flexible system, one that recognizes that students have different strengths and talents. Some might excel in science, others in art or music or literature.
We need to allow those different talents to flourish.
Right. He envisions a system where students are encouraged to explore their passions and develop their unique abilities, whatever those may be.
That's a refreshing perspective. It's about fostering a love for learning, not just churning out exam-taking machines. But how does technology fit into all of this?
He sees technology as a powerful tool for democratizing education, especially for students in remote or under-resourced areas.
Right. Online learning can break down those geographical barriers.
Exactly. Online platforms have the potential to connect students with quality educational resources, no matter where they are in the world.
And he even mentions how kids are already using AI tools for learning, things like ChatGPT and Dubel.
It's incredible, isn't it? He sees AI as an integral part of the future of education. He's challenging educators to embrace these new technologies and figure out how to best integrate them into the learning process.
Okay, so up next we have a question from someone who went from the ICPC to getting a PhD abroad.
Talk about an overachiever.
They want to know about Huawei's perspective on competitive coding.
Yeah. Do they see it as valuable? Or just a fun distraction?
Exactly.
Ren emphasizes Huawei's commitment to open source projects.
Oh, interesting. So even though they're a very competitive company, they also believe in collaboration and sharing knowledge.
Absolutely. He specifically mentions their operating systems, Harmony OS and Euler OS, as examples of their contributions to open source projects.
So they're not just hoarding all their innovations, they're sharing them with the world.
Precisely. It's about contributing to the global tech community, fostering a spirit of collaboration. They believe in the power of working together to drive innovation.
All right, so next up we have a question about Huawei's approach to talent development and leadership. How do they cultivate the next generation of leaders?
This is where Ren gets really reflective. He talks about Huawei's journey, how they went from a small local company to a global tech giant.
Quite the journey.
He emphasizes the importance of continuous learning and adaptation, especially in a field like tech where things are constantly changing.
You got to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And he draws a parallel between Huawei's evolution and Einstein's theories.
Einstein, now that's an unexpected comparison.
I know, right? But it's a brilliant analogy. He points out that Einstein's theories, which revolutionized our understanding of the universe, weren't immediately accepted. It took decades for the scientific community to fully grasp their implications.
It's a reminder that true understanding and progress often take time. There are no shortcuts.
Right. And just like Einstein's theories challenged conventional thinking, Huawei has also had to challenge norms and push boundaries to achieve its success.
It's about being willing to think differently.
And he stresses the importance of embracing the perspectives of younger generations. He even admits that he sometimes struggles to understand the language and ideas of what he calls the new humans.
The younger generation.
Yeah, it's a message of humility. Even he, as a seasoned leader, needs to keep learning and adapting to stay relevant.
Okay, this next question comes from an American student, and it's about those geopolitical challenges that Huawei has faced in recent years. They want to know how Huawei has achieved technological strength despite all of that.
It's the elephant in the room, for sure. But Ren handles it gracefully. He acknowledges the restrictions on technology transfer, but he also emphasizes that fundamental scientific research that remains open. It transcends borders.
So even in a world of political divisions, science can still bring people together.
Precisely. And he praises the United States for its openness and inclusivity. He sees those values as key drivers of its scientific and technological progress.
It's a powerful message of how open exchange benefits everyone.
Right. It leads to more innovation and progress for all. Okay, so switching gears a bit, we have a question from Belarus.
Okay.
And this is a more personal one. They want to know about Ren's hobbies. What does he do to relax and recharge outside of work?
I'm curious, too. Everyone needs a break, Rick.
Well, his answer is pretty surprising. He admits he doesn't really have any hobbies in the traditional sense. He says his work is his life, and he's always been that way.
Wow, talk about dedication.
I know, right? But he does say he enjoys solitude. He spends his free time reading, browsing the internet, trying to understand the perspectives of younger generations.
For some people, solitude is a form of relaxation.
It's a time to reflect, to recharge.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to the next question. This one is about regulation.
Yes. The delicate balance between innovation and regulation.
Exactly. A participant from Poland brings up concerns about how regulatory hurdles can sometimes stifle technological advancements.
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
How do we strike that balance?
Ren is very clear about Huawei's approach. They prioritize compliance with local laws and seek necessary permissions before implementing any new technologies.
So they're playing by the rules.
Absolutely. He even uses the example of remote control technology. He says they only use that with the explicit permission of local governments and operators.
So it's about respecting national sovereignty.
Exactly. And then he goes on to praise Poland. He talks about their strong mathematical tradition. He even mentions that Huawei has a research institute in Poland.
That's a nice touch. It shows that he's paying attention, that he recognizes the unique strengths of different countries.
Absolutely. And he even mentions a Polish academic by name, Jan Madi. It's a reminder that these global collaborations, they're not just abstract concepts, they're built on real human connections.
All right, so this next question comes from an aspiring entrepreneur.
Okay.
And they want Ren's advice on building a successful company.
What's the secret to success?
Exactly. Spill the beans, Ren.
But Ren doesn't sugarcoat it. He says entrepreneurship is hard. It's not all fun and games. He describes it as a path born out of necessity more than anything else.
It's about solving a problem, filling a need.
Right. He talks about his own experience starting Huawei, how it was a way to provide for his family, and it was a tough journey full of challenges and setbacks.
But he persevered.
He did, and he encourages this aspiring entrepreneur to do the same, to stay focused, stay resilient, and never give up on their vision.
It's a message of hope, but also a dose of reality. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
And he uses the example of ByteDance, the company behind TikTok, to illustrate this point. They struggled in their early days, but look at them now.
They're a global phenomenon. It shows that success is possible, even when the odds are stacked against you.
But it takes hard work, dedication, and a belief in your vision.
Welcome back to our deep dive into this fascinating conversation with Ren Zhengfei.
We've covered so much ground already, from AI and leadership to the challenges of global communication and the importance of education.
And now we're going to wrap things up by delving into some really big questions about the future of work, the role of technology in society, and even Ren's personal reflections on life and happiness.
It's a lot to cover, but I'm excited to dive in. So where do we start?
Let's pick up with a question from a student in Sweden who's thinking about the future of AI. They want to know, will AI eventually free us from work? Will we have all this free time to pursue our passions and just enjoy life?
It's the classic question, isn't it? Will robots take our jobs and leave us with nothing to do but lounge around?
Exactly. What does Ren think?
Well, he's realistic. He believes that the rise of AI is inevitable, and it will probably reduce the demand for human labor in many industries.
So no sugarcoating the potential impact of AI on jobs?
Nope. He actually uses examples like automation in shipping, steel making, even coal mining, industries where robots are already replacing humans.
It's a trend we're seeing everywhere. Efficiency and automation are becoming increasingly important.
Right. But here's the interesting part. While he acknowledges the potential for job losses, he's also optimistic about AI's potential to create new wealth and prosperity.
So it's not just about robots taking our jobs. It's about AI fundamentally changing the nature of work and the economy.
Exactly. He thinks the increased wealth generated by AI could be used to support those who lose their jobs, potentially leading to a future where people have more leisure time and freedom to pursue their passions.
It's a pretty utopian vision, a world without work where everyone has the time and resources to do what they love.
It definitely raises some big questions. What would people do with all that free time? How would society function?
Those are questions for another deep dive, I think.
Definitely. But it's fascinating to consider.
Okay, moving on. This next question is about Huawei's future. A participant asks about their role in a world with increasing technological competition and geopolitical tensions.
It's a tough question given all the challenges Huawei has faced in recent years.
What's Ren's take on this?
He calls for open innovation and collaboration. He emphasizes using the best tools and technologies no matter where they come from.
So putting progress ahead of politics.
Yeah. He acknowledges that Huawei had to develop its own tools because of the restrictions they faced, but he says open collaboration is still their ideal approach.
It shows resilience and adaptability, but also a recognition that a more open global tech ecosystem benefits everyone.
Absolutely. Okay, now for a question that's close to home for a lot of students. A participant from Bulgaria voices concerns about diminishing job opportunities in the future.
Yeah, it's a valid concern. How do we prepare for a future where the jobs we're trained for might not even exist?
Ren acknowledges that the window for traditional employment is shrinking, but he offers a message of hope. He encourages students to be adaptable, open to new possibilities, and embrace lifelong learning.
So it's about more than just getting a degree or learning a specific skill set. It's about developing a mindset of continuous learning and adaptability.
Exactly. Being able to learn new things quickly, adapt to changing circumstances, find creative solutions to new problems, those will be the keys to success in the future.
It's about being comfortable with uncertainty, embracing the unknown.
He also points out that there are many paths to happiness and fulfillment. He talks about different societal models, like Australia's resource-driven prosperity and China's focus on education, different approaches to navigating the changing economic landscape.
So there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right. It's about finding what works for you, what aligns with your values and your goals.
All right, next up is a question about remote work versus in-person collaboration.
The eternal debate.
An Argentine student noticed that people seem more hesitant to engage online compared to face-to-face interactions.
It's an interesting observation, especially since we're all spending so much more time online these days.
Is something lost in the digital translation?
Maybe. Ren acknowledges the benefits of both. He sees the value of face-to-face communication for building relationships, fostering trust, and creating a sense of camaraderie.
There's something special about that in-person connection.
But he also recognizes the practicality and cost-effectiveness of virtual interactions, especially for global teams.
It's about choosing the right tool for the situation.
Right. Sometimes you need that in-person connection. Other times, a quick video call is all you need.
Okay, now for a question that gets really personal. A student from Tsinghua University asks Ren to envision his ideal life, free from any constraints.
It's a chance to see what truly motivates and inspires him. What does he dream of?
What's his utopia?
His answer is surprisingly down to earth. He reflects on his past, emphasizes the importance of basic necessities. He talks about the contrast between his generation's struggles and the opportunities available to young people today.
It's a reminder that our perspectives are shaped by our experiences.
He says Huawei's journey isn't about some grand dream, but about survival, overcoming challenges.
It's a refreshingly honest take on the realities of building a global business.
He expresses admiration for the students and encourages them to use their opportunities to make a positive impact.
It's a call to action, a challenge to the next generation to step up and make the world a better place.
Okay, next, we have a question about Chinese culture. A Mexican student asks Ren about the valuable lessons he's learned from his cultural heritage.
It's a chance for some cross-cultural insights.
Ren talks about the balance between tradition and openness in Chinese culture. He highlights Deng Xiaoping's reforms, which opened China up to the world.
Cultures are constantly evolving.
He talks about finding that balance between preserving traditions and embracing new ideas. He uses the example of China's high-speed rail network, adapted from foreign technologies. It's a testament to the power of openness and collaboration.
Taking the best ideas from everywhere and making them your own.
Now, a student raises a concern about the Chinese education system. They worry that it might discourage early engagement in research and competitions like the ICPC.
Interesting point. Is there too much emphasis on traditional education and not enough on hands-on learning?
Wren says he's not an education expert, but he emphasizes individual strengths and embracing opportunities. He encourages students to find their passion and pursue it wholeheartedly.
It's not just about following a prescribed path. It's about forging your own way.
He shares the story of Lee Won, a successful writer with limited formal education. And he talks about tennis, how success requires both talent development and seizing unexpected opportunities.
Okay, last question. This one's a bit lighter. A recent Huawei employee hired through the ICPC challenge wants to know how to climb the corporate ladder.
The age-old question. What's the secret to career success?
Give us the inside scoop, Ren.
But Wren, in true humble fashion, deflects the question. He talks about how the corporate world is always changing and suggests the employee seek guidance from others.
So, no easy answers.
Nope. It's a reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all formula for success. You have to find your own path, learn from others, and adapt to the ever-changing landscape.
And to wrap things up, we have a question about communication. A participant asks about Huawei's preference for remote versus in-person meetings.
Full circle.
Given their global reach, it's a relevant question.
Wren says he's open to both. He emphasizes the value of connection and encourages ongoing dialogue. He even reiterates his open-door policy, invites the students to reach out to him personally.
It's a generous offer. It shows his belief in the power of human connection, even in a world increasingly dominated by technology.
It's been an incredible journey exploring Ren Zhengfei's thoughts and insights. He's a visionary leader, a deep thinker, and someone who's clearly committed to building a better future.
I couldn't agree more. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the mind of Ren Zhengfei. We hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as we have.
Until next time.